Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Louise from The Dusty Jacket. This episode starts a new segment called Series and Sequels, where I'll review either an entire book series or a book and its sequel. There will be spoilers, so be aware. Today I'll be visiting a very small family who manages to get into all sorts of scrapes and shenanigans while trying to find a place to call home. This is a 5-book series, and for the sake of time, the first book is recommended for ages 6 to 11, while the remaining 4 are for ages 8 to 12. So pull up a thimble as I review Mary Norton's beloved classic series, The Borrowers. Let's get started. The first book is The Borrowers, published in 1952, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars. It is said that there are people who were so frightened that each generation grew smaller and smaller and became more and more hidden. Often found in quiet old houses deep in the country, they became known as the Little People. One 9-year-old boy actually met some of these people, who he came to know as the Clocks, Pod, Homily, and Arrietty, and he swears that they were real. But little boys are prone to fantasy and make-believe. Or are they?
You sit on a throne of lies.
The Borrowers marks the first in a 5-series collection and introduces us to the Clocks and their world underneath the kitchen floor at Furbank in Great Aunt Sophie's house, where matchboxes are dressers, postage stamps are works of art, and blotting paper makes for a rather smart rug. Norton gives readers plenty of action, adventure, and danger, along with some rather devious villains and one unassuming and unsuspecting hero.
Then there's something for everyone.
Although I liked its themes of family, friendship, and trust, I truly appreciated that Norton didn't shy away from making her main characters flawed and, at times, unlikable. After all, it was not their discovery by the human beings that led to their ultimate downfall, but rather it was their own pride and greed. The Borrowers has everything that a young reader would enjoy, except for the ambiguous ending. But in 1952, readers would have to wait 3 more years to see what would happen to the Clocks. Luckily, we don't have to wait so long. So let's move on. Book 2, published in 1955, is The Borrowers, Afield, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars. It had been a year since Mrs. May told young Kate the story of the Borrowers. Since that time, Kate had completely pushed their memory to the farthest corner of her mind until one early spring day when Mrs. May slipped her a letter about Leighton Buzzard, the country town where Great Aunt Sophie's house was and the former home of the Clocks. But last time we saw our dear little friends, they had been smoked out of their home and left fleeing for their lives, never to be seen or heard from again.
That is the saddest thing I ever heard.
But worry not, for there is one soul who knows exactly what happened, and it is that very same person that Mrs. May and Kate, quite by chance, are about to meet. Norton picks right up where she left off and finds our favorite trio trekking from Furbank to Perkins Beck in search of the Badger set, home to the Hendreries. In this book, Arrietty finally realizes her dream of living outdoors and becoming a true borrower. Homily begins to toughen up a bit, although required to become a vegetarian, and Pod continues to hold his family together while keeping an even temper and maintaining loving order. Their journey has them finding an unexpected abode, meeting several troublesome insects, and encountering a very helpful yet mysterious stranger.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
Norton does not fail to live up to the expectations she set with her first book and gives us yet another thrilling read filled with adventure and ample amounts of danger, disappointment, and discovery. Through the ups and downs, the Clock family begins to not only learn more about themselves and their own capabilities, but they also learn more about one another, which results in a deeper appreciation for each other. The third installment is The Borrowers, Afloat, published in 1959, which I rated 5 out of 5 stars. It all began when Mrs. May told Kate the story of the Borrowers, Pod, Homily, and Arrietty Clock. The story of how these little people lived happily under the kitchen floorboards at Furbank until being smoked out, how they survived hunger, weather, and a sinister gypsy with the help of a human being and a lone borrower, and how all of this ended with an unexpected reunion with Uncle Hendreary and Aunt Loopy. But, as we've learned, things with the Clocks are never easy, and with bad news from the human boy Tom, our 3 friends are off on yet another adventure, except this time they're aided by a most resourceful and trustworthy ally, Spiller.
I always liked him.
Just as thrilling and enchanting as its predecessors, this book shows how Uncle Hendriri and Aunt Loopy live, and we begin to understand the partnership they form with Spiller. Also, Spiller has been promoted from a supporting role to a main character, as he plays an instrumental part in saving the clocks quite a few times by now, as well as assisting them in securing permanent housing. Of all the characters so far, Spiller is perhaps the most underrated and gracious, as he gives up his home, time, and resources to assist the clocks on more than one occasion.
He's a great guy.
Norton also continues to develop our soft, pampered, and opinionated matriarch Homily, and allows her to slowly let go of her prejudices to begin appreciating Spiller and his contributions to her family. Out of the series so far, this book leaves readers with the most suspenseful cliffhanger yet, as Mild Eye the Gypsy is hot on their heels, and the return of the nasty Mrs. Driver and Cramp Furl reminds us that our friend's journey is far from over. Book 4 in the series is The Borrower's Aloft, published in 1961, and which I rated 5 out of 5 stars. Pod, Homily, and Arrietty Clock have been through a lot, but with the help of Spiller, they are finally headed to their new home in Little Fordham. Developed and managed by Mr. Abel Pott, this miniature railway village attracts plenty of humans who could be counted on to leave behind plenty of things worth borrowing. Little Fordham has also attracted the attention of Mr. and Mrs. Platter, a greedy couple who know a good opportunity when they see it. They set on building a similar village called Ballyhagan, and just when they think they've won up their competition, they discovered something in Little Fordham that could make them rich. Real little people.
Don't call me that.
Soon the clocks find themselves kidnapped and will soon be a permanent Ballyhagan attraction. They've pulled off narrow escapes before, but could our favorite borrowers have finally met their match? In this book, we meet the kind Mr. Pott, the amiable Miss Menzies who befriends Arrietty, and the opportunistic and scheming Platters who imprison our heroes and plan to exhibit them like animals in a zoo.
Horrible. Horrible.
This book truly tests the patience, strength, and unity of our friends, as they must rely on their ingenuity, wit, and each other to regain their freedom. 4 books in, and Norton still manages to keep the clock's journey fresh and exciting with new faces, obstacles, and challenges. Arrietty has grown tremendously, but her trusting nature once again puts her family at risk. Homily is realizing that her little girl is growing up and soon will be looking to build a life of her own. And Pod is faced with making some tough decisions of his own as he weighs his wife's comfort, his daughter's longing, and his desire to remain true to his borrower nature. The 5th and final book in the series is The Borrower's Avenged, published in 1982 and 21 years after Norton's last book, which I rated 3 out of 5 stars. In shock over the loss of their trio of moneymakers, the Platters plan to stake out Little Fordham to recapture the little people who have inexplicably escaped their attic prison. Meanwhile, Miss Menzies is distraught at the sudden absence of her friend Arrietty and the family that she's come to love. Knowing that no good deed goes unpunished, Pod understands the immediacy of getting his family as far away from Little Fordham as possible before those nasty Platters return, because luck and ingenuity will not save them next time. With the discovery of a permanent home, along with a new borrower, it seems that things are finally as they should be for our favorite little family. But their safety may once again be at risk when the Platters learn that a credible finder is in their midst, and with the help of a bit of clothing left behind by Homily, could the clock's days of freedom be coming to an end?
Gee, I sure hope there's a happy ending.
Well, all good things must come to an end, and this final book is the weakest and most disappointing in the 5-book series. The beginning was promising, and it appeared that Norton hadn't missed a day. However, it failed due to its overly descriptive text, causing the story to lose valuable momentum quite a few times, the introduction of 3 otherworldly characters who added no value and served no purpose, the mention of suicide that was beyond the pale, and an ending that is perhaps the bleakest and darkest I have ever read in a children's book.
Hey, why would she do that?
There were some bright spots. The reunion with the Hendriris, the rekindled relationship between Arrietty and her young cousin Timmis, and the introduction of P. Overmantel, who forces Homily to again rethink her past prejudices and appreciate that trustworthy and dependable allies come from the unlikeliest of places. Despite these, The Borrower's Avenged lacks the magic, wonder, and youthful spirit that we've come to expect in the series and should serve as a reminder that sometimes revenge isn't all that it's cracked up to be. Well, that's it. I'll include a link to our Goodreads page in the comments section should you wish to read the full review of any of these books. And if you enjoyed series and sequels, please click on the like and subscribe buttons to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And make sure to hit the bell so that you're notified when new videos do become available. Again, thanks for watching, and I look forward to bringing back some old titles so that you can make new memories, because any time is a good time to dust off a new favorite. Keep reading!